The Sims 4 Business and Hobbies brings with it skill mastery perks. These are unique abilities that can be unlocked somewhat randomly when training skills at high levels, or alternatively by purchasing and drinking a mastery perk bestower for 8,000 satisfaction points, which drinking will allow your sim to acquire any mastery perk of their choosing. On top of this, if an elder sim has a skill mastery perk, then in the hobby section of friendly interactions they can offer to bestow it onto other sims. I know, finally something for elders. While a sim can only have 4 mastery perks, there are 18 in total that exist, and we're going to look at each of them before I give them a subjective rating out of 5 that you absolutely don't have to agree with. First up is Skillful Sleep, which is honestly one of my favorites. This unlocks the Skillful Sleep interaction on beds, and when opting for this while your sim sleeps and restores their energy need, a ghost-like projection will appear and start training up random skills, giving you experience in whatever they train in the process. Note that the experience will only be awarded once your sim wakes up and the projection vanishes. There is a catch though, being that you can't control the projection and what they decide to train. But still, it's free experience and a great use of your sim sleep time. Just be warned that you can't go beyond 3 times speed while a projection is active, so I wouldn't suggest using this on sims who live alone, as there will be a fair bit of waiting and watching and not being able to do much as your sim's projection trains. Overall, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 just because I think it's really creative and quite fun to make use of. Next up is Spacebender, and this one is really simple. You'll now be able to space bend or teleport anywhere at any time. Though if you do this too many times back to back, then you can end up with space bending sickness, whereby there will be a small cooldown before you can space bend again. It's great for getting around without having to walk or run, and it has a fun animation too. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Stellar Stamina is next, and this is all about your sim's energy need. Now this supposedly reduces the rate in which your sim's energy need decays. However, honestly, from comparing sims both with and without the mastery perk, I didn't see any difference, so it might be bugged. Additionally, sims with this will be a lot more resilient and avoid passing out unless their energy need has been critically low for a rather long time. I'm giving this a 1 out of 5 because, well, I think it's bugged. Now let's look at mental muscles, and this allows sims to gain muscle while training up mental skills such as fishing, gardening, handiness, logic, rocket science, programming, video gaming, and more. From my experience, the muscle gains come pretty quickly, and so it's a great way to get a geekier sim ripped rather easily. Just note that if you have this perk and you stop training your mental skills for a while, then your sim will lose their muscle tone. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 because I think it's rather creative and can also work into your storytelling too. Also, like Hot Nerd is kind of life goals. The 5th perk that we'll look at is actually a set of 3 perks, being Active Aura, Creative Aura, and Mental Aura. When a sim has these, they'll be able to click on themselves and choose to activate the relevant aura that they unlocked. This will then see them either gain an energized moodlet for an active aura, an inspired moodlet for a creative aura, and a focused moodlet for a mental aura. And these auras will last for 6 hours, after which there's a small cooldown of around 4 hours before your sim can activate them again. Outside of the moodlet they gain, this won't affect your sim. However, it will affect everyone that's in the same room or close by to them, giving them a happy moodlet while they're under the effect of any of these auras, while reducing the time it takes to train up relevant skills. For example, a mental aura will reduce the time it takes for nearby sims to train up mental skills. From my testing, the skill training boost makes training up skills around 50% faster, so it's pretty substantial. Overall, it's a decent perk, especially for family gameplay or for when you have a larger household. I'd give creative and mental auras a 3 out of 5 and active aura a 2 out of 5, simply because an active aura will affect less skills. Moving on now to Second Wind, which is great for sims who love to work out. With this active, randomly while exercising, sims can be hit with a second wind, granting them a small happy moodlet while also maxing out their bladder, hygiene, hunger, and energy needs, meaning that they can just keep on going. On top of this, it'll remove any negative moodlets associated with working out. For example, uncomfortable moodlets from being fatigued. A quick side note is that anecdotally, I felt like the second wind effect happened more often when changing up workout equipment every few hours. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5, as for active sims who work out a lot, it really makes caring for their needs almost as easy as jumping on a treadmill for a little while. Next up, we'll look at 2 perks that are somewhat similar, being Aspirational Creator and Aspirational Thinker. Both of these perks essentially provide you with extra satisfaction points. Aspirational Thinker will see sims gain around 20 satisfaction points for every hour that they train mental skills, so pretty frequently. Then Aspirational Creator sees sims gain 10 satisfaction points every time they create an object, for example a piece of pottery or a painting. I'd give these perks a 2 out of 5, as while they're definitely helpful, they're really just a way to gain some additional satisfaction points. The Powerful Performer Mastery perk is what we'll look at next. With this perk, whenever a sim gives a performance, for example by playing an instrument, telling jokes at a microphone, or even DJing, then sims watching on will gain a small happy moodlet, and additionally their negative moodlets will clear at double the usual rate. On top of this, your sim will gain relationship with those who watch your performance, which is a good way to slowly make lots of friends at once. Overall, I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. Moving on to look at another set of 2 perks with similar effects, being Secret Spice and Final Touch. Both of these allow you to improve the quality of goods. Secret Spice works on food and drinks and improves the quality by 1 tier. For example, it'll make normal quality goods excellent quality or excellent quality goods impeccable quality. This being said, there seems to be a bug where sims can't actually eat impeccable quality food at the moment. Final Touch on the other hand works on objects, upgrading them by 1 tier. However, the max tier remains at excellent tier, not impeccable or masterpiece. Truthfully, these perks aren't too impactful, and Secret Spice is outright bugged, and so I can't rate them that highly. I'd give Secret Spice a 0 out of 5 and Final Touch a 2 out of 5. Now let's look at In the Zone. With this mastery perk, occasionally while working on skills, your sim will gain an In the Zone moodlet which lasts for a couple of hours. And during this time, all of their moodlets will freeze and stop going down, essentially letting you just power on working on whatever you like without needing to stop. With some activities like painting, the moodlet even extended in duration over time, but then with other activities like writing, I struggled to get the moodlet to appear at all. While definitely a great perk, I also found it to be a little unpredictable. However, it's still quite handy overall, and I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. The final mastery perks we're going to look at is actually a set of 4, and each of them are called Pigeonholed. Each of the 4 Pigeonholed mastery perks relates to a different group of skills, being creative skills, active skills, social skills, and mental skills. When you pick up this mastery perk, you'll train skills within your group of skills at double the normal rate, which is awesome. However, on the flip side, you'll train skills outside of that group at half the normal rate. So for example, going from level 1 to 2 violin with no bonuses takes 3 in-game hours. But if you have the creative Pigeonholed mastery perks, it takes 1.5 in-game hours. However, on the flip side, if your sim has a different Pigeonholed mastery perk, for example the active one, then it will take them 6 in-game hours to go from level 1 to 2 violin. Because of this, it's really only worth picking these up if your sim has a very set pathway and almost every skill they plan on training fits into a single skill group. Otherwise, it's kind of a net negative overall. For this, I'd give the active and social Pigeonholed mastery perks a 1 out of 5, and the creative and mental Pigeonholed perks a 2 out of 5, because the latter two have more skills that fit into their group. And that's a look at all 18 of the skill mastery perks. Just before finishing up, know that you can remove a mastery perk if needed by purchasing and drinking a mastery perk remover drink, which costs just 100 satisfaction points. Anyway, let me know your favorites in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope you have an amazing day. See you later.